Hey yo, this is Eddie Augustin for Filmmakers on Filmmaking. This is episode 11 for Monday, October 9th. And on today's episode, why the hell do we love horror films? Let's get it! Hey yo, what's up? It's Eddie Augustin, I'm back again. Thank you for joining me again, once again. And as usual, just to let you know, once again, what time is it now? It's 1 in the morning. Yes, I'm recording this 1 in the morning, day before the show. I'm still having some trouble with my setup. It's kind of getting annoying. I'm trying to figure it out slowly, but I don't know. It's just, I'm not sure if it's the sound card or if I don't think it's the microphone. It can't be the microphone. I'm pretty sure it's the sound card or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out, whatever. It's all good. How are you guys doing? You know what? You know me, I'm in Montreal, right? Right now it's a holiday, actually. And it's a Canadian holiday. What holiday is it again? Damn. Taking advantage of the holidays, but I forget what holiday. It's Canadians' Thanksgiving, actually. Yes, in Canada we have a different Thanksgiving date compared to the States. Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I can't explain it. Don't ask me to explain it. I don't even know. So how are you guys doing? Today we have a very cool show, exciting show. I've been wanting to do that show for a while, actually. Basically, I wanted to do a show that would be about horror films and why we love them. Like the title said. I mean, you clicked on the video, so you got to know what you got to know what the show is about. But you know, this is sticking with the theme that we have for this month, which is horror. All horror stuff. All month of October. Because October, it's Halloween. Halloween is horror. So we're getting it lit for the month of October with all horror topics, discussing horror films. And today I thought I would just, start with the basics and talk about why we love horror films so much. Explore the topic. And then I'll be curious to hear from you guys. So you guys can tweet me and email me or whatever and tell me why you guys love horror films. And, I'll be curious to know why or what reasons do you have to love horror films? I have my own reasons and that's what I'm going to be sharing. But I'll be curious to know what your reasons are. So without further ado, let's start this week. But I wanted to talk about something though today. And again, it's with the theme, so I really wanted to talk about it because just before recording this, before I was getting the finishing touches on the show notes, I was watching a film. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about it, especially you guys that are listening. I don't know if some of you guys have been following for a while, but maybe the new people that are just starting to follow now because of the horror theme this month. And I hope you guys stay. Oh, by the way, before I get to that, don't forget that this show is also available on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Filmmakers on Filmmaking. I'm not promoting it too much. I'm just uploading stuff, everything over there with the trailers, and whatever happens. If it picks up, it picks up. I don't know. It takes a lot of time to do. It's kind of, it's kind of maybe dumb for me to do it, but I just thought, I started the habit, and I mean, if a couple people are checking it out and like it, well, I mean, it's worth it, and maybe later on it's going to pick up more, but for now I'm still doing it, but I'm not promoting it too much because I want to focus on promoting the podcast itself, and it's hard to promote two things at the same time, especially with me doing movies and all the other things that I'm doing. So it's on YouTube if you guys want to check it out, along with all the trailers that I've selected and curated for you guys to check out at the same time. So if you want to get some visual, I know I like to get some visual when I'm listening to stuff. So you got the trailer, you can check it out on YouTube. It's Filmmakers on Filmmaking. It's super easy to find. And maybe you can see a link below whatever you're listening to. So if you can see a link, copy paste it, and that'll take you over there. All right, so I wanted to talk about the movie that I just watched before I jumped on the mic for the podcast. The movie's title, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about it. It's called Raw. It's actually a French movie. I didn't take notes. I didn't take notes of the directors and stuff like that because I don't know. I was just like, oh, I want to talk about it today on the podcast, but I didn't want to make a specific specific video about like details on the films and stuff like that. But I was just that I picked it up because I was just on VOD checking out what was on demand, and I saw Raw, and I was like, shit. I heard about Raw for a long time, and I've heard a lot about. I remember even when it was at festivals and stuff, people were talking about the movie being this amazing, great film, and I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. It's an independent film too, so I love to watch and check out independent horror films. Independent horror films are probably the films that it's probably the films that I check out the most, probably. I don't know. I've never seen myself as like a horrorcore horror fan. Whoa, tongue twisting. A horrorcore horror fan, but maybe I am. I don't know. I know I'm a horrorcore horror fan. Like I love horror films, but it's not like horror is my like all around like favorite genre of film, and I check out like almost everything, but I have a special love for horror. I don't know why. But I recommend you guys checking it out. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but like I recommend you guys checking out Raw. It's something. It's something completely. It's very intense, very rough. No, not very. I wouldn't say very rough. It's not very rough. It's not like these type of horror that are rough. It's not rough. It's violent and it's edgy and it goes very far, but I don't think it's not the type of movie that traumatizes you and stuff like that. It's more the type of movie that like explores something cool and interesting. Not that it's cool, but I mean the film is cool, but not that what they're talking about is whatever. Just saying, it's a great movie, and the acting is amazing. It's in French, so if you guys don't speak French, ne parlez pas français, you guys are gonna have to check it out with the subtitles. But it's all good. I mean, film fans, you guys should be able to read subtitles, right? It's part of our job descriptions as film fans. We have to check out international films because they're films too. And a lot of them is going to come with subtitles. If you can't speak a language and you want to check out the film, then you got to, you know, put your back into it. So, yeah, I recommend you guys to check it out. I'm sure you guys can find it on VOD or however you guys want to check it out legally. Don't forget, we always supporting independent films here. Actually, we support every films, regardless if they're $100 million films or $30,000 films, and need to be supported. There's people working on these films that are not rich. Don't think everyone working in the movie industry is rich. No, they're not. So support independent films, support films. We love films. Check out Raw. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know if I should tell you. Some of you guys I know like to know nothing about a movie before they check it out. Should I say something about it? Well, I'm sure you guys are gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna say a little, not even like the synopsis, not even like the plot line that you guys would see on IMDb or whatever. So I don't think you need to like skip it out. Like I don't think it's like a spoiler. It's nothing like that. It's just what it's about, right? So I'll give you a minute if you guys want to pause for 10 seconds and then come back 10 seconds later. All right. So it's basically about cannibalism. And it's a girl that was a vegetarian and tried out meat and got a taste to it, but she seems to be going further and further and further. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't think I ruined anything. That's what I knew when I checked it out. So you guys let me know what you think. All right. Now on to the main topic. Why we love horror films so much. I wanted to discuss this. All right. So, what I thought and what I've come to realize is basically I have like a few reasons that are my own personal reasons, but also that I think are general reasons why people love horror films so much. Let me see what I got here. All right. So basically, one of the reasons why I believe a lot of people love it is because, in my personal opinion, I think that horror films a lot of them, there's varying degrees and different style and genres of horror films, but I think a lot of people really are into horror because horror films, a lot of them, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them have a tendency to explore themes that we're not used to hearing about, and in a way that we're not used to be exposed to. Meaning, basically, they're like the horror films tend to, because of the task that they have to do, right? The task of a horror film is to give you a sort of scary experience, whether it being jumps, startled or disgusted or creeped out, depending on what it is, right? But the goal of the film is basically to give you an emotional response that is of a sort of scary nature, depending on what sort of scariness we're talking about. But to do that, a lot of horror films, they use tactics and plot lines that are different than other films that we're used to seeing. So that makes it very interesting to watch because like there's a good way to see something that's very different and very out there. Like recently I watched As Above, So Below, and that was a movie about the catacombs in Paris and how supposedly it might be the gates of hell, stuff like that, right? That's pretty crazy, and that's like a topic that's very interesting and so cool, and it mixes history and it has kind of like Indiana Jones type of vibe to it too, with the treasure hunting and the traps and the enigmas and riddles and all sorts of shit like that. So, and mixing with the horror and the blood and the supernatural element, it's cool, right? So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are really gravitating towards horror film, just because of the nature of the stories themselves, and the fact that a lot of these type of stories we don't find in other things than horror film, basically. All right, my next reason is I believe that how can I say that? All right, so I think also, I mean, this is kind of related to the other one, I guess. But well, not really. I think a lot like horror film is like the extreme of something that we would never want to happen to us, right? Right? Like, I mean, a romantic comedy or whatever, these type of movies are like, okay, so I don't know, like a guy meets a girl and falls in love with her, and then the girl breaks his heart, stuff like that, right? I mean, it happened to us before, or probably did, or it happened to someone that we know, and I mean, we're kind of accustomed to that sort of stuff, right? It's still cool to watch them, and it's still cool to check out these movies, right? But when you check out like a film about like a guy going through the gates of hell, that's like the extreme of something that we would never want to happen to us. But we're seeing another character that it happens to, and hopefully, if the filmmakers did a good job, or I don't know if that was the goal of the filmmaker, hopefully we've come to appreciate that person and appreciate that character, the lead character, and we don't want that person to be hurt. So we're rooting for this person. So that makes it interesting, and that makes it compelling, and that brings us into the story, right? So I think that's another reason why, because of the extremity of the situations that they put us to. It's kind of connected to the other one, but it's different, right? All right. So my next reason is because. All right. So let me see. What did I write down here? All right. So I think and I believe that a lot of horror films, basically, they have their theme, right? Oh, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard. I keep hitting the mic. I don't know why. I keep hitting the microphone. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm probably maybe tired. 2 in the morning almost now. We're gonna keep going though. It's all good. Who needs to sleep, right? So a lot of filmmakers, I believe, um, they like to put these messages in the horror film, right? They like to put these hidden meanings and these like metaphors, that you could like be like, oh shit, that's a movie about like a ghost story or whatever, but maybe it's about this, you know? And I think a lot of horror film fans, we love to spot these subtle references and these subtle messages within the horror. A lot of people are not like, a lot of like, like just some casual film fans, or some people just checking out movies and they just want to be entertained. They're not thinking about it too much, which is fine too. A lot of these people, a lot of them, they're just gonna watch the film and just be like, oh well, that was a cool film, that was scary, that was a fun experience. But I find that horror film fans are kind of they have these multi-layered like kind of way of seeing the film, right? And sometimes they even invent meanings when there's none, right? So like they'll be like, oh, I'm sure that this movie is actually about this, that, but nah, this one was really just about a dude getting his head cut off, right? So I think that it's an interesting way to see it, and it's also a very cool way, like to. Like there's a lot of genre, like an action film. Usually, an action film, it's an action film, right? Sometimes, a lot of times there's a message, yes, but I'm not necessarily just talking about a message. I'm talking about a very explicit metaphor relating to something completely different than what you're seeing on the screen. That's what I mean, right? I mean, a lot of movies are doing that, but I feel like horror films, they have a tendency to really like to explore these type of tactics and storytelling kind of tools. And horror film fans, we like that stuff. We like that shit. So we jump on it and we try to be like, oh, after the film, we talking about, I think that's what he was talking about. He was referring to like this, that, An example that I have actually, it's Night of the Living Dead, I think. No, the Dawn of the Dead, I think it's Dawn of the Dead, the one like that zombie one where they went to the mall, right, and they were trapped in the mall. I think it's Dawn of the Dead. Anyways, like, a lot of people were saying, and I think even the filmmaker said that himself. Was it Zack Snyder? I think it was Zack Snyder. Anyways, maybe I'm mixing multiple movies, but you know which one I'm talking about, the one in the mall. So I think the filmmaker himself said that, and a lot of people also said that, but they were saying how they believe that film was actually talking about exploring, how can I say that, exploring like the consumers, the extreme consuming, and like how we are just buy, and we don't really care about anything else than buying, and we're obsessed with like just buying stuff, and that it turns us into sort of zombies and stuff like that. Well, that's what the movie was actually supposedly talking about and trying to refer to. So that's pretty cool. That's these type of messages that I'm talking about, right? I find that pretty cool. It's a cool metaphor to put in the film. All right. So my next point was, and I think that's one of my favorite point actually. I think it's kind of, especially when you're a seasoned fan of horror, right? When you're a seasoned fan of horror, for you to be scared, it takes a lot. And a lot doesn't mean a lot like, oh, all this blood and all this. No, that's not what we mean. Like, because at a certain point, I think I'm more or less there when it's a film. Like, when it's a movie, like, I mean, you can put as much blood as you like, but unless it's well made, I'm not going to feel anything. I mean, I might jump on the ride and have fun, but I'm not going to be scared. But I think us horror film fans, what we like is we like to go to the movies, and we know it's a horror film, right? And we're like, all right, Horror film, huh? Mm-hmm. All right. Scare me now. That's all you got? I ain't scared yet. Is that all you got? Come on. You got. That's it? Oh, I was a bit scared now. But yeah, I think you could do better. Anything else? Is that it? Nah. All right. You didn't get me this time. So that's kind of like the attitude that we it's kind of like the attitude that we have because we're so seasoned and we've seen so many of them that like it takes a lot of work for a filmmaker to actually make us like scared. Like the regular audiences, yes, they'll be scared. Easily, probably. But us seasoned film fans, seasoned horror film fans, that's gonna take a lot. So I think we like to be like, all right, is he gonna be the one that's gonna be able to make it or not? And that's like a cool, fun, like it's like you're seeing a boxing match and you want to see like, oh, is he gonna be able to come through winning, or is he gonna get, is he gonna get his ass handed to him? Which one is it gonna be? So it's kind of like that. I feel that's what I feel, anyways. I like to see, are you gonna be able to do it or nah? And it takes a special filmmaker to do that. And what I think is my number one reason, the reason that, and I think this one kind of encompasses everything that I talked about. For me, anyways, I think that the reason why a lot of people gravitate and love horror is because watching a horror film is like one of the best ways and one of the only ways that you can actually be in the safest environment possible, know that you're safe or 100% safe, nothing can happen to you, but still feel scared. But knowing that nothing's going to happen to you, you'll be fine. Like, well, I mean, if you see a werewolf right in front of your face, you'll be scared as fuck. But, I mean, you probably will get your head ripped off, right? And you know it. But when it's a movie and you're sitting in a theater and it's dark and there's all your friends around you and a bunch of strangers around you, and we all scream at the same time, we all laugh at the same time, we all cry at the same time, and we all leave at the same time, it's just such a fun feeling to just be able to experience fear, but as a luxury almost. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like fear as a luxury. There's a lot of people that are afraid of real life shit. And that's not fun. That's not cool. But as film fans, horror film fans, we get to experience the sentiment. And depending how good the filmmaker is, that he can make us really believe in their shit, right? He can make us really believe, damn, I'm scared for real. I'm forgetting this is a movie. Like I'm afraid, but that's a good filmmaker. So I find it being my main reason why I love horror film. And beyond, a lot of people are saying like, oh, horror films, why you want to go see people getting chopped off, why you want to go see people getting killed, it's violence, all these type of things. But I mean, you gotta take it in stride, and like I believe there's a big difference between real life violence and entertain, like art, make believe. It's very different. And like people like Shakespeare used to write these sort of like ghost violent stories and these type of things, but they were masterpieces. Because I think storytelling is about exploring human dreams and fears. So what's better to explore humans, like nightmares, than horror films? And it's part of storytelling. It's part of the art of telling stories. So it definitely has a place to it, but it's not for everybody. I mean, if you're not a horror fan, I'll never tell you, oh, I hate you, you're an idiot. Why don't you like horror? You're such a... I don't talk to people that like horror films. Like, that's dumb, because I understand some people just are not built for this, or they don't enjoy the feeling, because you have to enjoy the feeling. If you don't, then it's not good. It's not a good feeling. I remember when I was a kid and I was watching horror film, I was not enjoying it because I couldn't sleep for weeks after that. And like even during the day, like I was still petrified. I remember when I watched Freddy, that was the first horror film I ever watched. I was petrified for days after watching these films. I was praying God, asking God, can you please make me not be afraid, because I just couldn't, like, I was outside and I was scared. I was like, I think I was like 11, 12, I don't know, something like that, right? I was just petrified, right? And even when I used to go to like I used to go to video stores, like to rent like Blockbuster and stuff like that, right? I used to go over there, and in the horror aisles, I was so scared. Oh my god. When I had to cross through the horror aisles, I was trying to not look either left or right, just walk straight, because I was petrified. I was so afraid. Sometimes my eye caught a glimpse of something, and that was it. I was scared all day, maybe all night. Maybe I couldn't sleep. It was that bad. So I mean, that's just but then I grew up and I don't know what happened. I'm not sure when that transition happened, but it did. And now horror is one of my favorite genre of films. That's what it is. But yes, that's it for today, guys. That's it for today. I'm happy that you guys spent this nice 30 minutes with me. We had a good time. I love talking about horror. Man, maybe I should make a horror podcast on top of this podcast. No, I'll never have time to do 2 podcasts. Who am I kidding? I'm already doing 2 podcasts a week, and I barely have time for that. So, but maybe one day, who knows? As usual, guys, thank you for checking me out. Thank you for listening, and thank you for coming along in the ride. I hope you're enjoying this little series on horror. Let me know. As usual, follow me on Instagram. Check me out on Instagram. I'm posting every day on Instagram. A lot of stuff. It's always lit. Instagram and Twitter, you can check me out at Eddie Filmmaker in one word. So that's Eddie Filmmaker in one word. Don't forget that this podcast is also available on iTunes. So if you have iTunes, please go on your iPhone, your iPad, your whatever. Search for your podcast app and search for Filmmakers on Filmmaking and subscribe. That will help me out so much. So if you could do that, that would be great. It'll be easier for you too, because you'll receive them as soon as they're released. You don't even have to check for them. You'll just release them. You just get a notification that my new shit dropped, and you'll be able to check it out. So subscribe on iTunes if you wish, and you can always email me at filmmakersonfilmmaking@gmail.com. So that's filmmakersonfilmmaking@gmail.com. My professional website, as usual, www.filmmakersonfilmmaking. Let me run that back again. www.filmsbyed.com. Films by Ed, ED, like my name, first 2 letters. Don't forget to leave a comment if you're checking this out on YouTube. Leave a like if you're checking it out on YouTube. And subscribe if you're checking out on YouTube. On this note, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a beautiful Monday. We are on holiday here in Canada. So if you're not in Canada, you're not in holiday, have fun at work, and I'll see you next time. Peace. I'm out.